Hello, everyone. Jacque Williams here, your host for City Views. Welcome you to another segment of What's Cookin' with 65th State District Rep Michelle Cook. We want to thank the sponsor of City Views, Health Insurance Agency, located at 1151 East Main Street. Better protection, better value. So, Michelle, a lot's going on.
There is a lot going on, that is for sure. We are nationwide. We are in turmoil. We are on the heels of an inauguration. We are praying for some type of smooth transition of power. But we also know that there are threats on every state capital across the United States. So, you know, it's to the point where it has disrupted business in various states. And I think that we need to really recognize what is going on in our country. And, you know, with that, I don't want to be doom and gloomy. I am sitting here at my legislative office building office. We were called into session this week, today actually, to do nominations for judges who expire, their terms expire. And we were supposed to be in here next week. And due to the safety of everybody, they made us come in early to ensure that we were safe and protected. We've had calls with our state capitol police. We've been briefed on protocols and protection procedures and so forth and so on. And, you know, these are times that I've never experienced in my tenure. And I'm very sad that we have to have these conversations. I'm sad that it is making people afraid. But at the same time, I'm extremely saddened at the turmoil that our country is in. And as I have said to you, since we've been doing this, you know, kindness, respect, dignity, you know, agree to disagree, but do it respectfully. I'm really hoping that for our viewers, for our community, for our state, and for our country, that we can figure out a better way to get somebody's point across than what we've seen last week at the Capitol. Nobody should lose a life because of a disagreement. That breaks my heart, and there's just no words for that. But, you know, at that point, you know, I think that we're just going to have to watch what happens and be very cognizant of our surroundings. On a note of enlightenment, my understanding is that our revenue projections will be looking really good. And so tomorrow, that would be January 15th. Tomorrow, our revenue projections, I believe, will be coming out. We've heard good things. I'm really hoping that those good things continue, because as we know, as COVID has really devastated a lot of things, we need some brightness to come out of that. Our vaccinations are rolling out in a great manner. All of our nursing homes, staff and residents who are wanting to be vaccinated and have been vaccinated, we are leading the charge in that regard across the country. And from there, we will roll into phase 1B. And then according to that, we'll go to phase 1C. So now if anybody 75 years and older would like the vaccination, please reach out. There's a website. Email me. I don't have the website in front of me. You could reach out to our local area health department and register to get an appointment to get that vaccination. I talked to our area health department last night. They have ensured that they have not had to throw away or discard any dose of any vaccination. Once they open the vial, they need to use all of it within a certain time, or they have to discard it. And they've been very diligent and not had to discard any of those vaccinations. And I'm extremely proud of the work that they are doing. And I'm appreciative of the partnerships that we've had with CVS and Walgreens to ensure that our nursing homes and so forth are being vaccinated in a timely manner as well. So right now, those are the things that we have. I would really love to see our kids back in school full time. I think that they're really feeling the burden of being home. And not only are they, but so are their parents. And I know that it's been difficult on all fronts, educators, parents, and children alike. And I would love us to see us come together and figure out a way to get kids back in school in a manner of which they feel safe and the educators feel safe, because we cannot continue to let our children lose the educational years that we are seeing happen. So for me, that's where I'm at. That's what's cooking. What do you got?
I ain't got that much, girl, I tell you. But I will tell you this, though. There's a lot of people out here that are really praying for your safety as well as all of our representatives. And I think that the community understands that this type of I, I I'm not sure even there's a word for this, but uh, there has to be a better way that we can amp down the political rhetoric, and hopefully the new administration will bring an added focus on those issues that are affecting everyday Americans so that we don't get caught up in any of these side issues or distractions that really at the end of the day don't do anything to solve the problems that families are facing and that they're discussing at their kitchen tables. So we hope the best for you, and we know that our contingency here in the northwest corner, they're working together, um, and they're focused on bipartisan solutions to the or to solving the by solving the problems that we're having with bipartisanship. So I think that bodes well for the citizens here in the northwest corner. Now, I am hearing though that Charlotte Hungerford Hospital will be opening up uh, a vaccination center on January 28th.
Correct.
Can you update us on that information?
So that is true. I have an email in my inbox, of which I have not even seen my inbox today, to let me know what is going on. I will post all of that information on my Facebook page as well. And I know that Charlotte Hungerford has been instrumental in trying to ensure everyone's safety by doing the drive-through testing and so forth. And now they will be doing vaccinations as well. I would recommend everybody to ensure that they go straight to the Charlotte Hungerford website to get the factual, up-to-date, and current information, because you know as well as I know, as soon as you and I put it out there, something might change. But I want to thank all of the folks there that have been doing the incredible work and that are continuing to do the incredible work to keep our communities safe as well.
Now, people who I think are at the required age limit can go and receive their vaccinations in Wethersfield, Norwich, Shelton, and Hartford. Am I correct in that?
Yes. And then there's also the ability, depending on what your employer or employee is.
Yes.
So like somebody's saying, like Walgreens and CVS were doing the vaccinations for the nursing homes. So there are other opportunities for vaccinations accordingly. But you will see that those vaccination opportunities, you can, like I said, you want to log into that website. And as we're talking, I'm going to try to find that website for us. Log into that website and you can register to get a vaccination. And if you're willing to travel, there's not one in your area, you can go get a vaccination in any other area as long as you meet those criteria. I think that that's vitally important, and the way that they're doing it is key to getting people vaccinated. I have obviously people that are in the different, tiers. Some might not be able to get their vaccination when it is time for them to get it. So they want to be able to pass those vaccinations along to as many people as possible as they can while they can. And then Johnson & Johnson has a vaccination that hopefully is rolling out soon as well. And instead of the Moderna and the Pfizer one, where they are 2 vaccinations, the Johnson & Johnson one will be a single dose vaccination. That is not yet ready to go, but we are working on it.
I heard too that Johnson & Johnson vaccination doesn't have to be refrigerated. Is that true?
I think it's at normal refrigeration storage. It's not at the sub temperature that the first one needs to be. Although, like the Moderna one doesn't have to be kept as frigid as the Pfizer one. So I think that things are going along accordingly.
Fantastic. Now, how many vaccinations is the state of Connecticut going to be obligated to bring in?
I think obligation is not the right word, my friend. I think having the opportunity to have as many vaccinations as possible. I mean, the goal is right now, we were supposed to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 700,000 vaccinations by the middle of January. I don't have a current up-to-date number. I was on, like I said, I was on the phone with public health last night, our area public health, and I left my numbers on my table. They're in a book. But he had given me the specifics as to where we were with those numbers. And we're in a very, very good place. So between what the Walgreens and the CVS has done for our nursing homes, and then our first responders, doctors, medical professionals and the like, they were well over 15. Yeah, I don't want to quote the wrong number, so I'm not going to give it to you, but they were in a very, very good place for numbers. The vaccine portal is portals.ct.gov. And then you can go from there. That is literally all things COVID related for the state of Connecticut, and move through there accordingly.
So, what are your impressions on the governor's State of the State speech?
I think that unlike any other time, we have to be optimistic. You have to be uplifting. We really need to move in a manner of positiveness. I think that things are still very unsettled and uncertain. I welcome his remarks. I'm anxiously listening to, or waiting to hear, his State of the State, if you will, that will come out the second week of February. That's really the speech that we need to pay attention to.
So, in that speech that's going to be given in a few weeks, what do you think will be the major items that he will address in that?
So obviously, fiscal components and getting people back to work is a priority. The governor has been very vocal about ensuring that all of our kids are in school. So I'm wondering, and I'm suspecting that we hear a little bit more on that. Obviously, with the vaccination rollouts, we will hear more on that and how we are and how those tiers are going, and getting an update on where we are as a fiscal component. What does our state look like fiscally? How are our revenues looking? How are our expenditures looking? And what do we need to do? We were in a good place with the rainy day fund. So the revenues will determine whether or not that rainy day fund is going to need to be tapped into, or are we going to be in a good place, which we're hoping that we're in a good place. I think at the bottom line, we need to figure out a way to continue to get our state back to whatever normal might look like in that safe and healthy manner. And we know that the small businesses have really felt the crunch of that. Again, the only thing I believe that is not opened across the state are bars. And as we've spoken, for obvious reasons, we know why those have not opened up. I really don't know where else he might go in that regard. I do believe it's going to be fiscal. It's going to be business related. It's going to be, educational related, and then any benefits that we might need to bring back to the state. And then obviously get an update on the federal funding coming down and where we are in that regard as well. And then from there, obviously we have a few weeks. And so who knows what's going to happen. I suspect that he will address the incoming president-elect and the transition of power, and where the state of Connecticut has fits in the new administration's plans. Obviously, we've had some Connecticut residents that have taken positions in the cabinet and have influence in that. So I think that that's extremely important too. I'm not sure if we hear about that from the governor, but those are all those are impressive things to be bragging about as a Connecticut resident.
So Michelle, in the effort to balance the budget and to raise funds, what do you think about the gas tax that's considering to being implemented?
I hate the gas tax. I think that it is an unsustainable.
Hold on. No. You're a Democrat. You're not supposed to hate that.
That's all right. I find myself pretty moderate in the big scheme of things. So, realistically, we need to look at the whole conversation. We know that the transportation fund needs help. We know that our infrastructure, there was a push for tolls, that bad word, tolls. There was a push for tolls. The governor has said that he's not going to he's not going to go back and try to readdress that conversation. But we do need to figure out a way to sustain our infrastructure and our transportation fund. With more electric cars, obviously there's going to be less revenue from gas. So I think there needs to be a holistic look at how we fund that transportation fund. And what does that mean? So for me, I'm not a big fan of the gas tax. And I think that it's just more and more and more. And there's got to be a better way to do it. And I'm not saying I have that solution to that issue. I don't know what happens moving forward. Obviously, we are literally in the first week of our legislative session. And so all of the proposed legislation has not even been proposed yet. So, and then things will have to happen from there. So I think as we move forward, we'll hear different ideas and different suggestions and kind of work together. And I'm really hoping that it's bipartisan work that we can get done, because that is how we are the best of who we are. 95% of the things that we do here at the State House are bipartisan, and traditionally 5% are not. And so I'm hoping that we can raise that bar this year.
As far as revenue raising is concerned, Michelle, what are your thoughts on the legalization of marijuana in the state of Connecticut?
Yeah, I don't like it. I really and truly struggle with the legalization of marijuana. I know that there's a couple of other states that have done it. I know that they're having some issues from it. And I don't believe that we should legislate anything, legalize anything that just to gain it if it's an illegal substance. And if the feds do not recognize it as a non-illegal substance, we're going to continue to have problems as people cross the borders and transport through, air, train, and the like. So I think this really needs to be a federal conversation as opposed to a state by state conversation. At the same time, then I put my other hat on and I say we have alcohol that does sometimes far more damage to people than marijuana does, which is a natural substance. And so you can see where I'm at, like doing this. My one side is truly adamant that we don't do it, but then my other side understands that we have legalized alcohol for 21 and older, and it does significant damage to our bodies. And the components to its addictiveness are far greater from what I have learned than to the marijuana conversation. So as of this point, I'm still a hard no, but I am having conversations to figure out truly where we need to go. And at the end of the day, if you talk to our folks that are out there doing God's work and trying to help those people in recovery and really make strides in addiction, they will tell you that this might not be the best way to go either. And then we also have to look at our police officers and first responders. And until we can get a manner of testing on the spot to ensure somebody's not driving under the influence, I also don't know if that's the best way to go either. So I think that there's a lot of things that need to be rectified before I have that conversation as to I'm maybe thinking about going another way.
It's about that time.
Thanks a lot. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of City Views. Don't forget to check us out on our YouTube channel and subscribe at cityviews-ct or go to our website at cityviews-ct.com. Stay tuned and check out more coming at you right here from City Views.
City Views, City Views, City